Hello everyone, welcome back to Trek-A-Day. Today we have another Star Trek magazine to look at from Star Trek the Magazine. This is an issue that delves into a lot of Star Trek First Contact, as well as the Dominion on Deep Space Nine. With some cover stories, we have Jonathan Frakes on 13 Years of Star Trek and Will Riker and Life Behind the Camera. William Campbell, Mischievous Super Being, and Superb Klingon Warrior. Some technical stuff, all kinds of things in this May 2000 issue 1 of 13. Crazy to think this issue is almost a quarter of a century old already. And it starts off with an advertisement for Star Trek Armada, which was a decent strategy game that I played a little bit of back in the day on PC. It was never one of my favorites, but it was pretty fun. The many different Star Trek designs you can get for checks. Those are really cool. We have some for our personal checks, some different Star Trek designs, and there have been countless numbers of them. And it was always fun when I was working at a grocery store, especially when I was younger and using checks was a little more common, to see occasionally someone with a Star Trek themed check. It's always fun to go back, just kind of flip through these and read the articles again, and even checking out the advertisements, seeing like here, like some of the upcoming Star Trek books. It's a fun window back in time. Such an incredible amount of Star Trek content coming out all the time. Any given month, from the early 90s to the very early 2000s, there were sometimes, include kids' books and technical manuals and adult novels and everything. Like, there were 4 or 5 books coming out every month, sometimes more. VHS releases, Laserdisc, DVD, constant new toy lines, like all the time. Magazines, everything you can think of. So different from now, where marketing and merchandising has really just kind of collapsed for the franchise. An article all about the Klingon language, as well as the Klingon dictionary. I have the book and the CD version of that as well. And there's that feature they talked about with Jonathan Frakes. And it's a pretty good one. It's several pages, lots of pictures. Always nice when they're not more, when it's not just like a one little page or 2 pages and most of it's taken up by pictures. Always nice and there's a little bit of fun here. Star Trek the Magazine, don't miss an issue. And then we get a feature with Jim Martin, and these are cool because sometimes you'll find some behind-the-scenes photos or sketches or things that really aren't in a whole lot of other stuff, because there's so many issues of these magazines and they really need to fill the pages that occasionally you get stuff that's just not really in other things. Even some of the later art books or technical manuals or anything, those sometimes have a limited number of pages and space, so some stuff gets left behind, and sometimes these are the only places where you can see them. Star Trek, the role-playing game, the tabletop, Dungeons and Dragons type stuff. And these are fun too, the deck plan and stuff for parts of Voyager. This one is actually, I think, a fold-out, if I remember correctly. There's this double-sided fold-out of the briefing room. sick bay. And the great William Campbell, Trelane, and Koloth. Someone who would be instantly recognizable to Star Trek fans, especially TOS, and then returning years later on DS9. Some great Deep Space Nine photos. I always love the episodes like Blood Oath with Dax and all her aging Klingon buddies. A bunch more with Voyager. And this is really funny because it goes into the Voyager shuttlecraft designs and also talks about the Voyager issue of all the crashing shuttles, like all those lost shuttles. When they're low on supplies, they seemingly had infinite shuttlecrafts. What do they talk about here? After exhaustive research, some interesting results have come to light. Would it surprise you to know that by the end of Season 5, after 120 episodes, the crew of the USS Voyager had crashed, destroyed, or lost a total of 18 shuttles? That's really funny. Maybe not as high as some would expect, but when you consider that out of those 120 episodes, only 45 featured shuttles, the destruction rate is an alarming 40%. That's just funny. How about the Dominion? So much to dig into. Like, going through every one of these issues is hours. It's unbelievable, and it's so sad that stuff like this really doesn't exist anymore, especially to this extensive level. But the costumes for First Contact. A lot of great sketches and designs. Briefing section, a lot of times we get a focus on a particular species or event. Here we have the Malon, those dirty Malon freighters. They were pretty interesting, actually, in the couple of times they were encountered in Voyager. I get this huge fold out. Garbage scow, and then this big fold out looking at the design of their ships. It's a two-sided fold out. It's crazy, again, how much is in here, how much detail. That's how Star Trek fans like it. Everything is there for a reason, and every little detail. What I like about this highlight is a lot of the crewmen that are only in maybe one episode, little like side people that actually were named characters though, that get a little bit of a highlight. Like, oh yeah, I remember that person. What was his name? What was her name? That's kind of a cool part of this look. There's Mbenga. Pretty extensive. Sound of Star Trek, a whole bunch of different releases, this time mostly CD. And of course the reader's letters. They're always interesting to read through, see what people are discussing or praising or more frequently complaining about. And coming soon, next issue. And I hope you enjoyed this little look back into May 2000. An exciting time to be a Star Trek fan, so much to dig into, and still some really good stuff to come in the next few years. And it's fun to flip through these and reread all this stuff from days gone by and kind of revisit yesteryear for a little while.